There comes a time where nobody listens. Um, this is something that has become very, very common, especially among men, because today's world is oriented into everything else but men. If if a man is going through things or has issues or has concerns, suffers from inequality, believe it or not, or injustices, for the most part, nobody cares. Because when there's other groups that are by default perceived as victims, all the other groups that are not by default, because they have to prove that they're victims, what happens there is they get neglected or dismissed automatically. Because society tends to cling on to, that's the rooster in the distance. Society tends to cling on to old stereotypes and create new stereotypes to fight away the old ones. Like I've said before, it seems that in the process of trying to fix one thing, we break another, and we go back and forth breaking pre-existing problems. But we still go back to the original problem, and we repackage it and we refurbish it under another group of people, and then we pretend that we care about everybody across the board equally. So for a lot of the guys out there that feel isolated, and there's many of them, hey, that's the world we built, unfortunately. Because in the end, reality tells us men built pretty much everything, at least everything significant of true value. And in our extreme empathy, we have given other groups too much benefit of the doubt, too much leniency, too much, air quotes, victimhood mechanisms, and now they in return are abusing in our direction. So again, going along with the propaganda that dominates the Western world today, men gave women so-called liberty. And I have to say so-called liberty because they were never slaves. They were protected. Technically, women have been a protected class for thousands of years. But now they pretend that the patriarchy oppressed them. If keeping you ladies decent, dressing up decently and not being used by many men in the street, if that's oppression, then I don't know. I would not know what morality is, or what happened even to the idea of morality. When men would sacrifice their lives for you, which now most men don't care to do that anymore. Again, you were a protected class. When women debate, well, we could not get a credit card. Well, because you did not need one. Your husband was a credit card. And let's be honest, women are a bit reckless when it comes to money, especially when they use their husband's money or their partner's money. They're more cautious sometimes with their own, but even like that, many of them are reckless still. The point is, what many today call oppression from the past was actually protection from yourselves and from others. I'm not saying that the past was perfect, but the present is not better. than the past. When it comes to relationships, of course, the present is not better. Men are not caring anymore. Men are walking away, and men are being, again, marginalized and always the bad guy, when it actually takes other men to protect you from the bad guys, actually. Because you're not going to see a group of women going out there arresting men. Oh, that's an alarm that just went off. You're not going to see a bunch of women going out there arresting bad men for hurting anybody, other men or women or whatever. No, it's always men that are there to protect you. So again, it's sad to conclude it because it's the reality. And I think men are doing good to just back off. Let women be what they want. Let women be independent and empowered and achieve whatever they want to achieve. But don't help them that much, guys, because again, we're equals. We're the same according to them. So we're not supposed to help them. Let's just give them the freedom or the space for them to flourish without us. I mean, if you want to marry them, great. But remember that when you sign that document with the state, if it were just with God, there's no problem. But when you do it with the state, you guys are on the hook for a lot, while they enjoy your hard labor. That's how independent they are. Ironically. Air quotes, of course. So again, guys, just think before doing anything. When it comes to the opposite sex, obviously protect your mom and your sister and your wives and your daughters. But when it comes to helping a stranger, a female stranger, well, you guys have pretty much already heard about the Uber girl. Again, she recorded the guy. He was naked. She opened up the door and then she claimed to be the victim. There's a lot of that going on, unfortunately. Too much of it. I think it's more common than cops beating up on African Americans. These false accusations from women. And this is very prevalent at work. But anywhere in society, actually. So once again, people, especially you guys, protect yourselves. I've told my son, hey, you don't have to get married, especially in this environment. You can stay in your room, get a part-time job, work at the movie theater and come home and play video games. Just learn how to become independent, obviously, and because dad's not going to be here forever. But you're better off without a woman, sadly. And that's not me, that's statistics. 70% of marriages are destroyed by women. They're the ones that file for divorce. And according to public record, it's not because the guy abused in any way, shape, or form. It's because they're just not happy. That's not a good deal because marriage is not always happy. There's men that sometimes have sexless relationships. But hey, they're willing sometimes to sacrifice that for the family. And then these are the same women that when their partner, cheats on them, then they wonder why. Which again, I don't promote cheating. But if ladies, if you're not gonna take care of your husband or your partner, don't be surprised when he finds someone else to take care of him. Because technically it's your fault. You're not satisfying him. See, this is something we never talk about. Women actually satisfying their husbands, while they are always being satisfied with protection, money, provision, a home, a car, maintenance of their car, whatever. But they're never told what they should do for the man to at least keep him contempt. Because we don't think you can make, men don't, men in general, I know because we talk. I'm over 50. I've had friends for over 40 years. And when it comes to relationships, we all know that you women don't have the capacity to make a man happy because all we require is peace. But you can't even provide that for the most part. You can't even provide that simple clause. Just be quiet. You know, when we need you to be quiet. We're not telling you to shut up every day or every moment that you speak. But there's moments where you go off trying to pick a fight. We don't need that. We don't need that. Call your friends and go off on your friends, you know. Talk with them and chat with them about your emotions and about your whatever. Men are not built for that. We would like to be there for you, but and we have on occasions. But you guys take it overboard. You guys take it to the extreme. Another alarm. Another alarm going off. But again, you guys take things to the extreme. You know, if we open up the door yeah, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. It's not a conversation that you that becomes healthy for the man. It's healthy for you because you just go off and you're there an hour or two, maybe even 3 hours. Sometimes even blaming the guy. That's not healthy. A healthy conversation is mutual, without attacking, without making the man feel like crap, like, you know, blaming him for everything. When in actuality, you know, we're actually your buddy here. We're taking on half of your problems. You're not necessarily doing the same. But again, that's what most men nowadays are realizing. Excuse me. That I know you guys use the word toxic masculinity a lot. Toxic masculinity, but we never talk about female masculinity. Toxicity, I'm sorry. We never talk about females' toxic behaviors, which is more abundant than men. A simple example is, you know, we don't have monthly freakouts, you know, from our biology. You do. So again, but again, it's a taboo. It's a taboo subject. We men are being oppressed from actually expressing reality, because this is reality. This is not fantasy. This is not feelings. This is not opinion. That's a reality. That's why most guys, when their wives are going through those changes, what do? We don't go straight home that week. Guys go to the bar or go to a friend's house or go visit their mom, because they know if they get home, they come home, it's just to fight, argue, because of her biology. That's toxicity there. Once a month, by default, automatic, systemic biology. Men don't have that problem. We could have problems with alcohol maybe, and that's why we might be toxic at times. Or we may have a trauma from a childhood experience, which applies to both men and women. But you guys were born with that toxicity. And I know it's harsh, and it's not misogyny, it's reality, it's biology. Let's not call it misogyny, because it's not. But I know you women have a hard time accepting truth. You guys like to be lied to. I don't know if that's why in the Bible, the first event in the Bible in Genesis is Eve believing a lie. Believing the lie from a serpent. Which again, this is a problem. So again, this is the reason why men go away. This is the reason why men walk away. And I think it's healthy for them. For now, until you women become responsible of your own bad actions and behaviors. Till next time.